Hey. Hi, guys. Welcome back. All right. Let's go ahead and jump on into this. I'm going to do two different dates in this video. So, I'm going to do a today's topic message for the 9th of April and then also for the 10th. So, we'll do them in two different segments. And then at the end, I will pull cards for a birthday of the 9th and a birthday of the 10th at the end. All right, so let's get into this. First off, what is the message for April the 9th? What do we have energy wise? We have the Wheel of Fortune and we have the Five of Cups. We've got karma hitting on the 9th. One person's karma is going to be really, really good, and the other person's karma, and it could actually be a collection of people's karma that's going to be really bad. They're going to feel the impacts of, actions have impacts. Our actions have reactions. And the Wheel of Karma reminds us that, the things that we do yield the reputations that we have built for ourselves. But here it's like it's a group of people that all seem to be pretty bummed. So I don't know if there was if this is like an entire group that wasn't very kind or very supportive or very polite, and they're all feeling the impacts of the Wheel of Karma, the negativity that I don't know, it almost feels like somebody wasn't, like a whole group was kind of unkind to somebody. And that person that they were unkind to is possibly going to be receiving, it could be a Queen of Pentacles that's kind of out of their reach now. They might be missing this Queen of Pentacles, or they might be even talking about her and kind of all feeling a little bit crummy, like, we kind of did her dirty, didn't we? I don't know. This feels like her life is better, but you notice she's way up high, someplace far, far away. So she's well out of reach of them. I almost think that this is just several people, and they may not know each other. Let's say, for example, the Queen of Pentacles, because she tends to be a generous individual, has given of herself to a multitude of people in her life. And maybe she's either been not treated very well by multiple people in her life, or she's been betrayed by different people for different reasons at different times. But it's almost like collectively, they're all kind of thinking about her at the same time. She may not know it yet, but she's the one going to have the good karma. She's the one who's going to be receiving some kind of progressive, positive outcome on the 9th. Wow, she just might be meeting an emperor on the 9th. Okay, this could be, so she could be a Virgo, a Capricorn, or a Taurus who could be meeting an Aries. This could be, since she can be very career oriented, it could be that like she's getting selected by the boss. The boss could be ignoring a bunch of other people who might have done their best to either hold her back or be unkind toward her. They might not have been supportive colleagues. They might have been hypercritical for no good reason. Sometimes people just are, it's just a little, like pit of vipers for whatever reason. If this was like in the workplace, that could be that she had colleagues that were definitely not very polite or kind, but ironically, it turns out either she outperforms them, she catches the eye of the big boss, and she's about to have a promotion, a turn of good fortune. Or if this is more, and I would lean toward this being more in the macro, just because she's way up here in the sky. So I don't know that I think that this is just about a workplace drama. I feel like in the bigger scope of things, a Queen of Pentacles has oftentimes given the best of herself and gotten a whole lot of nothing in return. And this is finally, her luck is turning. And I'm thinking that she spent years, maybe 5 decades of her life trying to do her best, trying to give to people, trying to be supportive, trying to promote or assist and serve and do her best. And I kind of think she didn't get much thanks for it. And that is finally coming around. She's finally getting what she deserves as far as like the partnership she deserves. She may be meeting somebody of great influence, sometimes an emperor. She's probably already successful in her own right as a Queen of Pentacles, but an emperor is quite a substantially more like wealthy or substantially more powerful than the kings and the queens, right? Because they are all four kings or queens rolled into one. So they are four times more wealthy, we'll say. So she may be meeting somebody that is very powerful, very affluent. This could be the person who falls in love with her. We have a Four of Wands. This could be, if these were people she dated in the past and she had kind of like losers and users time and again that didn't treat her with respect, that took from her but didn't give her anything in return, she's about to meet somebody really wonderful, who sees her as like the person they want to marry and bring into their castle or into their empire. So she's about to be wooed and booed by somebody quite wonderful. What is it that's turning this good fortune in her favor at last? I guess really what I want to say is, why has it taken so long? Hi, guys. So great to see everybody. Hi, night owls or early morning risers, whomever you are. We have the Chariot. There is something here about, we got wheels on both of these, right? And part of the wheel of fortune is just the reminder that all things in life are cyclical, and sometimes those cycles take a really long time. The Chariot talks about, someone who has to develop their own belief in themselves before they can really move forward to what they want. So I would argue this, at some point in time, she might have been like feeling that she wasn't even deserving of someone to treat her nicely. And she had to get to the point, and sometimes this is what happens. The more crummy relationships or crummy jobs that we have, or crummy colleagues that we have to put up with, sometimes it like breaks us down, but other times we get broken down only to finally get fed up and say, you know what, screw that, I deserve better. I'm not going to deal with, just these jokers. I'm not even going to tolerate that anymore. I deserve better. And that's when we put the wheels on our chariot and we ride on forward with our head held high. And I'm going to say she did that. I think that she has a real strong sense of herself, her personal power, and she's moving forward. And I think that that's what's actually also helped to push her good karma forward. She certainly has accrued some good karma, but she also needed to believe that she deserves better and that she's going to hold her head up and, continue to be. I think she's been probably very decent and very consistently giving. But at this point, she also really comes across as somebody who has self-respect. She's not anybody's doormat. And I think that's really helping. So let's go over to that Emperor for just a moment. Is she meeting this Emperor on the 9th, or is it just like her karma starts to change and her fortune starts to change? No, Knight of Pentacles is sideways. She's probably, if she does encounter him, it probably isn't in a context where it's like he walks up and asks her out. He could see her and she doesn't see him. Knight of Pentacles says her karma is changing. Her life is starting to change on the 9th. Little things might start to go in her favor, but it's not going to be that the Emperor like shows up in her life, because Knight of Pentacles still talks about it's our slowest moving night. It is sideways though. So that speeds it up a little bit, but it also makes it so it's like maybe he passes her by once or twice before coming around to talk to her. Just because in this deck, this is card 12. So I don't know, maybe it's like 12 days before they really connect to her. 3 of Cups. We definitely see him finding a way to connect to her, though. I just don't think that it's on the 9th. I think her karma changes on the 9th. What is it? What's the negative karma on that 5 of Cups energy? Queen of Wands, 9 of Swords. Damn. She's got at least one person, if not multiples, but one in particular that is kind of losing their mind over her right now. So on the 9th, I feel like one person in particular, maybe somebody who really treated her bad, is feeling really, really stupid. I don't know if he's seen a picture of her and it's like, oh my God, I cannot even believe she's so much more attractive than I even remember. She was giving, she was wonderful, but what on earth was I thinking? How did I walk away from somebody like that? I don't know if he feels a lot of guilt or a lot of stress over the way he treated her, but he sure sees her as like the ultimate catch. Now, granted, this is like he's very, very, very attracted to her. I don't know if this is somebody who tends to have a lot of vanity, or if maybe they have grown to a certain extent where they can actually just look back at their behavior and say, how did I do that? And yeah, Tower. So if they were very vain once upon a time, their ego has dropped. So in particular, there's one person who is really lamenting whatever happened with her. And I want to say, she's the best he ever had. Like she was the best thing he ever came across, and he knows it. He blew it. That's a tough thing to have to know. But he definitely knows it, and his ego is out of the way now, and he can also say, she was the nicest person I've ever met. She was also the sexiest, and I blew it. That is really hard to have to handle that. Now, it could also be the other things in his life are falling apart and he's under a lot of stress. And it's like now he remembers the person who would have made him feel good, would have made him feel like he was, you can get through this, you'll be all right, you're talented. And it might be her that was super supportive, and her that would have been somebody that he could have really used, that support from right now. But it's just a lot of realizations, that a lot of stress about the fact that she's gone out of his life. So on the 9th, we definitely see, the wheel of karma turns. She's not thinking about him, but her karma is about to change in a positive way as well. There's definitely this new emperor can I see one more card for the new emperor, and especially that kind of slow moving Knight of Pentacles? Okay, so we have an Ace of Cups in the reverse. He might be having a kind of a crummy day when he first comes across her. He may have had, everybody has just an awful day sometimes, but I'm wondering if she's a bit of a blessing for him, like, seeing her even on his worst day. And it's like, damn, that's somebody I'd like to talk to, but I'm definitely not going to go talk to her today because I'm in a shit mood. It really feels like he's going to wait till he simmers down a little bit, because I think he's having a bad day. He definitely does not seem to be in a mood to open up his heart, give his love. So that's probably why the Emperor's not approaching her. But I'm wondering if that's one of the reasons, that she crosses his path on that particular day. Maybe he needs some good karma too. Maybe meeting her on a day when nothing's going right for him, maybe that's like a gift for him as well. He definitely keeps it in his head that at some point I'm gonna go see her. I'm gonna talk to her. I'm gonna ask her out. I got to get to know her. So it's the change of, honestly, it's like the revolving door. We got old people being pushed out, and we got somebody new coming in. We got people that are unburdening their energies, and other people that are being heavily burdened with the knowledge of mistakes that they've made. So I kind of like to see the shift and the change, So the 9th is the revolving door of change. That's what I would say. All right, now let's turn our attention to whatever the message is for the 10th. All right, so the 10th of April, and I feel like I want to go with this deck. Can we see what we have for the 10th of April? Hi, everybody. The message for the 10th of April is a day of possibly peace, calm, harmony. We've got a 6 of swords, so it's moving into calmer waters. Someone could literally be traveling using their GPS, using, probably not a compass, but unless you're MacGyver. But I don't know if somebody lives by the ocean and they're going to go see someplace by the ocean, but we do have a lighthouse. So there's an element of protection in this, and calm and peace. I feel like things are going to get a lot better in somebody's life on the 10th. We have a 3 of Pentacles. We have the Strength card, and we have the Chariot. Okay, so definitely someone could be traveling to go see a Leo or a Cancerian. Could be somebody who has a child. They could be a single parent. They could be going to the zoo. They could be going to visit, Nana and Papa. But all this feels like it's time to travel to a calmer place. Now, this could be somebody who's moving, back home to be near family. These 3 pillars of strength and these puzzle pieces all coming together and all these hands helping, it almost feels like someone who could use some assistance like I say, maybe a single parent who could really use some help, some support. They might be relocating to be closer to family. And it's like, oh my God, I feel like I'm in a safe haven. I feel like this is the right place. I feel like I needed to be around people that are, they love me, and they kind of like I'm replenishing my strength by being around them. I would definitely say this is a day of like family coming together, or even, people that we consider family, those that we rely on, those that give us their strength and we give our strength to them. I feel like it's going to be a very mutually beneficial, um, like time spent together. If someone's not physically moving to like move back home, move back into, I have a distinct, like flavor of this storyline. Like it's more than just a visit. Like we're going to go home and we're going to like live with, family members for, a couple months or something while we get our bearings again. It could be like to regroup, to get money, sorted out. But it's more than that. It's so beneficial for all parties involved. Like everybody benefits from, the group coming together. It definitely feels like people rallying around each other, but it's like it's good for the pets, it's good for the kids, it's good for the elders, it's good for everybody involved. That's how that comes across. Now, if this is a little bit more like, let's say it's not a big move, let's say it's just going to visit, even that, this could have been like, it's been a long time since this group has seen each other. It's been a long time since somebody has, maybe even healed a rift. But oh man, who cares about the rift anymore? All it is it's so good to be back around, our siblings, our family members, our parents, whatever it is. It does feel like there's a couple generations of family members here, and it just feels like it strengthens a lot of bonds. It makes everybody feel safer, everybody feels more like excited to see each other. These three pillars are all different. They're even like little different heights, little. So I keep feeling like this is so much about strong family members that all carry the same, like some of the same genetic traits. Like they could either all be, about the same height or same body build or something. That's why it kind of feels like it's got to be familial. It's got to be relatives, because those three pillars are different, but all the same at the same time. This is very family oriented and very nice. We have the moon. Who knows what could come next after this? This group or this trio or these siblings, these family members, they needed to come back together because they're all stronger together. And what they could do after that, I mean, this could be like life altering, even if it's just somebody going to visit families that they haven't seen in a while. After that visit, a big life changing thing that somebody never thought they would be open to, they're all of a sudden open to. It could be like, hey, you know what? God, it's been a long time since I was around you. Now that I've been around you, I forgot how good we are together. We could go into business together. We could, why don't we buy a big piece of property together? Why don't we? It feels like a plan is going to be hatched that none of them could have guessed they would even think about. There's something here about, like, we have these little butterfly goggles on. And the moon is always about the subconscious, but it's about bringing things to the surface that have been in the subconscious. Four of Cups. Four of Cups can be illusions. It can be disappointments. It can be missed opportunities. Hang on. I got to get one more on that. There are bonds being formed. Okay, we have a King of Cups. Do we have somebody, a romantic partner, who's on the outside of all of this, looking in, going like, wow, I could have been with you and your family, but instead you had to go there by yourself. Now you're building who knows what with your family, and I'm not a part of it. Why didn't I go with you? Or why am I not still with you? He's over here drinking an awful lot. And there's regrets about this woman with the bun in her hair. And I feel like the regrets are belonging to this King of Cups. He didn't go on this adventure. He's not strengthening bonds with the pillars. He's not a part of that family unit. So it almost feels like it could be that we see like a mare and her colt. So let's go ahead and say that she may be going back home. Maybe this is a story of two people parting ways, a feminine who's parting ways with this King of Cups, and she's going back home and she's moving back to her hometown and she's around her family and around that support. And he's over here thinking, oh my God, she's building a whole new life with her family. And I'm on the outskirts, wishing more than anything that I could be there building that with her. There's something about him sitting there drinking too much. Somebody is really going through some regrets, it looks like. And I don't know that he expected he would feel that way. I feel like this is someone who like loves her more now that she's gone. Ace of Swords, yeah, it's like I didn't know how much I loved her until it was too late kind of vibe on the 10th. Three of Cups. Look, all I can say is we have one person whose life is about to get a heck of a lot better. There's family support. I feel like somebody's got their sisters around them. Somebody's got their siblings around them. Somebody's got the support of their family. And this is like a new life building experience. And lots of plans are starting to take shape seemingly really fast. And not everybody's going to be a part of that, because we definitely have an ending. We have somebody who, this king who wishes that they were in this whole family unit, and I think that they're not. And I think it's a really tough place to be on the outside and realizing he doesn't even know what her next chapters of her life are going to be like. He only knows that he's not a part of it with that Ace of Swords. That's, this is very, very much like a continuation of the energy of the 9th, right? The energy of the 9th was also about the karmic changes. And I feel like we just basically expanded more of that in this message for the 10th. We have the sun. The sun is clarity, but it's also happiness. This sun isn't really giving us a big old smile, though. So I would argue that this is more about clarity. Everything gets really obvious on the 10th, what the right choices are, what the right choices were, and when they weren't taken. When this King of Cups maybe is just now realizing that they missed out on something. They're sitting there drinking and realizing that they're cut out of this chapter, and they're very clear on that. And I think they know that this chapter would have been really happy if they could have gone with her into it. She's got a lot of support around her. That's all I can say. So I think that she's got a pretty happy chapter coming up. We do have some strong Leo on the 10th as a whole, right? Because we had both the Strength card and we also had the Sun, but we also had Cancerian. We also had Pisces here. So those are our majors. All right, I'm going to leave that there. Now let me go ahead and just pull one or two cards for a character whose birthday would first be on the 9th, and then we'll do the 10th. All right, here we go. Let's see. Thank you guys so much for being here. Thanks so much for giving it a thumbs up and subscribing. It really does make a big difference in the channel. I appreciate you guys so much for that. Thank you to the 37 of you who hit the thumbs up button. It does help the channel to grow. If you do enjoy this free content, if you enjoy the art, giving it a thumbs up, subscribing, those things actually help the algorithm, and then that allows the videos to be circulated. So anyway, if you didn't know that, every time you do that for any content creator that you enjoy, it helps any of us. That's kind of like what has to happen for the algorithm to allow our content to be shown. So it really is a small action, but it means a whole ton to your content creators that you watch. So thank you guys so much for supporting with that little action. It's really sweet of you. So we've got for someone who's got a birthday on the 9th, we've got the generosity of air in the reverse. That could be a Queen of Swords who's choosing not to give anymore. We have Death card in the reverse, but it feels like it's a contingency. I won't do that unless something changes, and I'm still giving space and even hope for something to change. This could be Libra, Gemini, Aquarius. This could be somebody who's big pissed very angry right now, and possibly righteously so. And then we have Scorpio energy coming in with the death card, but it's like, I'm angry about this, and I'm not going to back down from this unless something changes, and I'm going to give space for it to change. So even though somebody might be really angry, they're actually still being pretty fair about, ooh, but we have a 3 of Swords. It's very much like, you need to fix this. You need to make this up to me because you put a sword in my back. This was a betrayal. I'm going to call it what it is. I'm hurt. I'm angry. I would give you a chance to fix it, but I'm not going to pretend like this didn't happen. So it feels like there is an element of, we have a King of Pentacles. There's an element of saying, I always speak my truth. When I'm upset, I stay on target. I explain what I'm upset about. I explain how something made me feel. It looks like somebody is going to do their very best to fix it. It looks like we have a King of Pentacles coming in specifically to fix exactly what that was. I don't know. This could be like maybe the best way for somebody to like cultivate, healing a rift or a problem is to articulate it. I'm really upset. This really hurt me. I don't like it like this. This is why it made me feel this way. And it almost looks like being that raw and honest gives the other person the full information. There could have been a Virgo, Capricorn, or Taurus, divine masculine, who did not mean to hurt someone, but they did. And that gives them the opportunity to understand what happened and to go ahead and come in with an offer to course correct it. Yes, it does require the person who got wounded to like really articulate their thoughts, their emotions, and their feelings. But I think she even distilled it down into just the actual, like, sometimes when we say stuff in a really articulate way, it's easier for someone else to go like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Of course it would have sounded like that. Now that you put it in that context for me, now that you distilled it down. And I almost think that someone did not mean to hurt the other person. This King of Pentacles certainly seems like they want to fix it. I don't know if this is somebody who owed like some kind of generosity and they hadn't given fairly, or they hadn't shown up and been a support system when our character needed it. But it feels like our character is going to be getting that support. But it's only because they actually had, the presence of mind to really express what hurt them. But I feel like this is going to be a quick course correction of something that otherwise could have been very, very, it was very painful, but we can see this getting corrected really swiftly. That's, not only is it a great birthday message, but it's a great message of like, a character who knows how to convey their real thoughts and emotions about something, and then we can see the results that it yields. So that was actually really nice. All right, now for a character whose birthday is on the 10th, let's go ahead and get 1 or 2 cards there as well. We have Temperance and we have 10 of Wands. This is the energy of they've been trying to get knowledge by putting the book on their head. It wasn't happening. And the thing is, they needed to choose the easier path in life. Why go toward the tornado? Why not choose the path that is calmer and more harmonious? And it just really looks like with that Temperance card, somebody's understanding that. Yeah, that's right. We can choose the softer, the easier, the better, the kinder. Not everything has to be, we don't always have to prove how brave we are by walking into the storms. We could instead choose, in this case, harmony, and choose working together and collaborating. There could be, if this is all about like a workplace situation, I feel like a workplace conflict is going to be easily resolved and financially resolved. I'm going to bounce out. He needs me right now. Speaking of resolving conflict, you guys, thank you so much. Take care, everybody. Lots of love. Bye.